This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
Today we are at day 3 of the 52nd 4F convention, and we just had the Pat Page Teacher Trick thing. It was hosted as usual then by Mike Powers, and he always has something interesting and has a lot of people who help teach things. But I got with me right now one of the people who have been a past guest of honor, also a dealer and a presenter yesterday. We talked a little bit about Krushkin, and here he is, Meir Yedid. Hey, Meir.
Hey, and nice to be here, Scott.
Yeah, well...
Nice to see you healthy, too.
Well, thank you, sir. It's good to be in good health. Yeah. I do feel better. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad that I can get around and visit with friends like you and get here to this convention. You've been coming for a long number of years. What year was that you were the guest of honor?
Guest of honor was 22 years, 2003, so 22 years ago.
Wow, that does go back.
Almost a quarter century.
Now, when was your first year? Do you remember? Like in the 70s,
I was told recently, 1981, so this would have been my 41st year. I had to skip one of them.
Okay. And you also, are you on the board? Actually,
I'm actually the longest serving board member at the 4F.
Wow.
But that means everybody else died. That was,
so you're next.
Yeah.
So how's your health?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think I joined the board in 2004.
Yeah. So, what have you been enjoying so far about this one? We had one day yesterday, and then last evening, of course, that Eric Camps was giving his lecture and everything. And
I was thinking about that the other day. Magic is circular as far as what people like and how trends change. Trends constantly change, and I've noticed lately a lot of the magic has been procedural. A lot of the magic has been using technology or extra gimmickry or combinations of gimmickry. And so far, the convention, this has been very, very refreshing because almost every single act, I think every act except one, was sleight of hand based. And I really love seeing magic accomplished by sleight of hand instead of just magnets and electronics or long procedures and shuffles and deals. But this was all, sleight of hand, fast, direct, good, solid magic.
That's a good point. And over the years, you have attended all the different conventions. Is there anything that kind of sticks out to you? Do you remember a particular...
Oh, over here? Yeah. Oh, well, nothing that I could say publicly on this thing. But the early ones were wild and crazy and not politically correct by today's standard. The roasts were amazing, and Bill Malone and I were just reminiscing about all the things you cannot even say in public anymore. That Jay Marshall, Tom Mullica,
that's right.
They just went nuts. I mean, I'll say one thing, you could censor me, but one of my favorite things is when Tom Mullica said the only reason Jay Marshall married Frances is he always wanted to a magic dealer. And that was one of the clean things.
Yeah. Well, I remember also when Tom Mullica was the guest of honor, and that may have been before you had started attending, and they were making all kinds of jokes and everything over the roast, and one of them was he was not sure if he was going to be here because he hated to leave his friends behind, and there were other kinds of gay jokes about him at the time.
Yeah, a lot.
But nobody necessarily knew at the time, because I remember the line that afterwards he said, well, in case none of you or any of you didn't know, that I'm gay, you do now. After this roast was over.
Yeah. So, because Jay did a lot of jokes about him before he did that line.
Yes, that's right. But anyhow, over the years, moving from the Forks and then to here, you've seen.
The Forks was the most fun because I like controlled chaos, and it's just there's a lot of fun when there's a small group of people in a room that shouldn't hold that many people.
Yeah.
And it's just the energy is different, the fun is different, and of course they used to serve free beer back then.
That's right, and had a fish fry.
Fish fry or the beef on weck. I only tried that once, never ever again.
That's kind of me. That's not one of my things.
It was a layer. I didn't know what I was ordering, but everybody said I should order it. It was a roast beef sandwich with a 1/4-inch layer of salt on top of the roast beef. I thought I was going to throw up.
That was kind of not good.
Yeah, but we went after the Forks. We went to the brewery for a few years, which was very, very nice. And then we went to Batavia, and now we came here. And this is like the first hotel I feel that we were staying in.
And being convenient also to the airport.
Great!
You don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Rent a car,
That's
or
great.
Jimmy C used to have a service that would drive you back and forth.
Exactly. Although the nice thing about the Fork is everybody stayed at the Exit 53 motel, and that had like
double nickel.
Yeah, the double nickel diner was in the hotel, and they opened
free donuts. Yeah.
Yeah, 24 hours. They were open 24 hours back then. The diner. So basically, and I was young, and I never really. I think I maybe had one night's sleep during the 4 days.
Yeah.
And Tom Maurice would be there at like 6 in the morning, and we would take a nap till noon, and Bill Malone. I mean, it was just a lot of weird all-night sessioning, a lot to discuss. Because it was before you could see everything on the internet before you showed up, so you're seeing things for the first time that people have been working on for a year.
Well, unlike the Precursor Suite, that was something in which that those guys had.
Yeah, Bill Measle, Ron Zolweg, and Ed Eckel all passed away.
But they had the magazine called The Precursor, and they had that with the intent that people would come in session and they would publish the ideas in the magazine.
Right. That happened. If they remembered it.
Because there was a lot of alcohol involved, and everything then too. But that was a lot of fun, and I remember one particular time, and I've mentioned this before, which I was rooming with John Miller and Dan Garrett, but he also had in the same room with this.
I
Kevin
just saw
James.
John, by the way. John is doing okay.
Yeah.
No, he's not here, but I saw him in Atlanta. He's doing good.
And also had Kevin James and Rudy Colby. We had all of us in the same room, sleeping. It was a good time, but that was just a little bit different. And this is a real nice, legitimate hotel that we've got then right now, and we have some dining options that are outside the hotel,
which is great.
Which is nice.
Which I don't know. Like 2 blocks away is the what's it called? The Arlington, Oregon. Anyway, this restaurant that's just 2 blocks from this hotel is where we used to hang out at a lot of times in the 80s, right after the Forks closed,
right?
And we didn't want to go to the Nickel diner. There was another restaurant that was open till like 4 a.m. and that it was like Lou Gallo's favorite place. So there were always like maybe 10 or so people. We would go hang out there till 2 a.m. Before we get back to the Exit 53, and that's just 2 blocks from here. So I try to get like a meal in that restaurant.
It's for old time's sake.
Yeah. Even though it's new, different owners, different food, it's nicer and cleaner.
I never met Eddie Fector. Did you know Eddie?
No, he died the year before I started coming here.
Yeah. I don't remember him because, it was a while back that he had passed. But anyhow, this is a great convention, a lot of fun, and then Obi expanded that, and we started having international people. And you've been acting as an MC then each year for a number of years.
Yeah, many years.
And
new material every year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's very funny. Have you got like a joke you're going to be telling tomorrow that you can?
I'd rather surprise you. Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. And so, have you got some other conventions you're going to be attending here this year? You're going to the IBM in Houston?
I've cut down to just 2 a year now, and that's Fector's and Magic Live.
As a dealer?
Yeah, as a dealer. Or, unless I get booked, that would be an exception, but generally just those 2.
Right, yeah. I remember when we were in L.A. at they were shooting the
Masters of
Illusion, and you were out there. That was kind of like a one-off. I mean, when I say one-off, I mean, you were just in and out. I mean, I barely got to say hello to you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's see tomorrow. I'm on a plane.
Yeah, my gosh. I mean, you just came in to do your finger thing. And,
I think I was there 2 nights. Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, okay. I went to the castle one night with David Regal, and the night before I had dinner with John Carney and Christopher Hart and David Regal and one other person I'm forgetting.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember that you were kind of just in and out, and now when I talked with you, I'm just heading back out. So I thought, okay, you just flew out here for this, and
my one regret, I did 4 spots, and they edited and put together 3 of my slots that year, and my favorite one was my finger routine. And they kept it to the end of the season because they like to end strong.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's when the CW was sold and stuff. So they never aired the last 2 episodes of that season, and my finger routine never aired.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I did not remember that. Okay.
They were supposed to tag it on last season, but they didn't.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, this has been a great convention so far, and we've still got a full day here yet today.
Yeah,
and then
tomorrow.
We got a gala session this afternoon and another couple of lectures, and then all day tomorrow, and tomorrow evening. So it's more fun.
And I'm looking forward to the one-man show tomorrow. It's supposed to be very, very special.
Who's going to be doing that?
Sing Zhen Lien. Sing Zhen Lien.
From China?
From China.
Okay. Well, those guys are always amazing.
He's been here before, but you're going to be surprised. I don't want to say anything.
I remember last year wasn't it last year when Eric did his one-man show, and that was just awesome.
Yes.
And anyhow, it's a great convention, and we've got more surprises and everything coming in store for us. So, Meir, always good seeing you. Continued good luck with you.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And so the Magic Word Podcast. That was Meir Yedid. Scotty out. Again, after speaking there with Meir Yedid, we again had finished the Pat Page Teach a Trick thing, and we then went over lunch, just had some pizza with quite a few magicians, this long table, about 20 of us or so. And I'm here with one of the people actually who was teaching one of the tricks in the Pat Page thing, and that's Matt Baker here with me right now. Hey, Matt, how are you, sir?
Hi, Scott. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic, sir. So today's subject had to do with boxes. How did you come up with the box trick you were teaching?
Yeah, well, when Mike Powers announced that it was going to be on boxes, I thought, maybe I'll tip this thing that I had been working on for years. That's part of my parlor show. That's a special ring box that does several things all in one. And I thought maybe the 4F folks would enjoy seeing the inner workings of this thing. And just decided it was a good opportunity to share something that people hadn't seen me do or wouldn't associate with me.
Yeah, it's different because I think of you as a card guy. I mean, you're part of the guys that work with David Solomon and Simon Aronson and the guys up there, and John Bannon and whatever. Who else is left with the group right now? I think some people have passed, but who else is with the group then right now?
Well, David Finkelstein is here and John Bannon is here, and they're left from the Chicago group. But
you meet over John's house like each Saturday morning, don't you? Or?
Well, I don't live in Chicago, so I was just kind of an honorary member that would come when I was in town, and I would talk to Simon a lot when he was still alive. But
where do you live?
I live in Atlanta.
Okay,
yeah. So, but
an easy drive.
Chicago, but I think they still talk occasionally. But I think with Dave Solomon and Simon passing, that's really the end of that group as we knew it.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's true. Although they continue to have some brilliant ideas and everything that comes out of that. And I do like the idea with the box, and I was going to ask you about that because it was a neat little ring box, and I have a ring box, and I'm familiar with how that you can get a ring in and out, but yours did much more than that. So this looked like it was a custom-made thing that you had developed.
Yeah, I kind of dreamed up what I wanted it to do, and then I worked with Tim Hill, who's a brilliant...
Oh, Tim Hill. He used to work with Kerry Pollack.
Yes,
years ago. Yeah, with Wireless Wizardry.
He's really, really good at manufacturing things, and so I told him what I wanted this to do, and we discussed some designs, and then he built it for me, and so that's what I was showing off today. But yeah, it accomplishes a vanish, a reappearance, and then a disappearance all in one.
Is that something that you're thinking you might want to market?
I guess so. I'm not really...
That's
good at marketing,
but Tim might. I mean, Tim's got stuff that he's selling.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he now works for Vanishing Ink, and he's got an official capacity, so he would have to work through the system. I think we don't know how it would be mass produced right now. It's kind of built by hand, and
it'd be pretty
time consuming, and it would be potentially expensive. So I don't really know enough about these things, but I'm open to if I can find a way to do it. I think it's something that would interest people.
I think so. Again, for those who are listening, it not only has a clever way of getting rings in and out, but also you can get a card in there, like a folded card.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And then the card then also disappears when you dump it out. And so it's all built into this one device. So yeah, I mean, I hope we can figure out a way to share it with others.
I can see how
for now I wanted to just share it with my friends at 4F here and see if anyone has additional, ideas or ability to produce it.
Well, I see how that is a feature routine in your act.
Yeah.
And I assume that you have a lot more lines and everything, and probably is a good centerpiece, kind of a 10-minute routine there.
Yeah, it kind of serves as a thread that links different parts of my show, because I borrow a ring at the beginning of the show and do a trick with it, and then I put it in the box to hold on to for later, and then towards the end of the show it comes back and there's an unexpected transposition, and basically the box accomplishes a whole bunch of things for me, and so I like this kind of efficient design in magic where you have a prop that's doing a lot more work than anyone would imagine this one innocent looking thing is doing.
Now you've been coming to the 4F for not that long. What?
My sixth time.
I was going to say 5 or 6 times.
Relative to the old timers,
like
not
me
so
for
long.
40.
Yeah.
And so how have you been enjoying this year? I mean, we're like a day and a half or almost 2 days into it after Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So what have you gotten out of it, or what have you liked? What's been a highlight so far? Or what are you looking forward to?
I just love coming here. I've been busy with my full-time job as a professor lately and just finished teaching my last class a few days ago. So for me, it's just a great opportunity to get to see all these friends again that, start to feel like family after a certain number of years, and getting to have my mind blown in some of the, late night sessions, sharing some of my recent, card ideas with people that sometimes give really great tips. And then, watching the shows and lectures, I thought we've already had a couple really good lectures. Horit Wu and Eric DeCamps gave really good lectures, had some good shows. And usually then, the gala shows on Friday and Saturday are really great, so I'm sure tonight we'll be seeing some really incredible magic.
And I understand we're going to be having a one-man show also with somebody coming up, and I can't pronounce his name, a guy from China.
Right, I wasn't familiar with him, but
Meir Yedid said not to be missed.
Yeah, I imagine usually they deliver or over-deliver on promises here like that. So, I remember the Korean gala show, was it last year or 2 years ago?
A couple years ago.
Which was really spectacular.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
and
I hadn't heard of almost any of those guys, but I knew it was going to be good, and it was even better than I thought.
Yeah. Well, this is always a great convention to come to. Is this one that you wouldn't miss now that you have been coming for a few years?
It is, yeah. It's it overlaps with my son's birthday, which I feel slightly guilty about, but it's really one that I make sure I can come to no matter what. I block it off on my calendar, and so I haven't missed one since I started coming. But yeah, it's one of the few conventions now that I will make sure I go to.
Try not to miss. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks very much. Thanks a lot for being a guest.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
The Magic Word Podcast, that was Matt Baker. Scotty out. So, right now we just finished the afternoon first gala of the day, and we're going to be having another Ed Talk. It will be starting here shortly. There's going to be with Christian and Catalina. But I got with me now one of the people who is a past guest of honor, and someone who's also going to be featured coming up in the SAM convention this year in Nashville. I've got with me Stephen Bargatze. Hey there, Stephen.
Hi. Scott, it's always good to be anywhere.
Well, isn't it, though, at our age? So, what year were you the guest of honor? And it was by yourself, or did you share it with somebody?
No, I didn't have to share, Scott. I was I was probably about 10 years too early, because I see, like, Eric DeCamps, I almost feel like I need to go and apologize to him. I'm sorry that I was before you were in all of this. And you know what? I really don't know. Maybe 2013.
Okay.
Has it been that long?
probably.
But
could be about
it'll be
10 or
over there on
15.
that poster. We can go look in a minute, but it'll show it. But
been a while back.
yeah, it was unbelievable even to be chosen then, and this stuff. This Obi just really liked me and saw stuff that not many people did. But it's really funny because when Nathan was on Saturday Night, my son was on Saturday Night Live, and a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, he really was.
What's his name?
Nate. And Nate, but a lot of people got a lot of problems like, who is this guy? How can he do this and why? I mean, there was a lot of controversy from the world that never heard of Nate. And so I knew how he felt. I go, yeah, I got picked once, and everybody's going, who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. But you over the years have been like closing the show on Saturday nights.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Because I don't have that much material. I did my act in the first 4 or 5 times I came, and then
you were done.
I was like, they've seen everything I have that's worthy of this convention.
Yeah.
But then what happened to me was Steve Beam used to close the act, and it's kind of a roast it's an old tradition of 4F. It's to roast the show and to come back and do that. And I always loved Steve Beam. It was my favorite part of it, but somehow I got involved. I just did it 2 years by myself, and then I thought, I'm not going down by myself. And so I grabbed Rick Merrill. So me and Rick Merrill have been doing it, for over 10 years now.
That's right. You going to be closing tomorrow?
I'm afraid so.
Okay.
And every time we close it, we think the Bound the Fires this time. We're never going to be invited back.
Well, the funny thing is, I know there are so many different things that happen throughout the weekend that you get together frequently every few hours or throughout the day and write new material.
Right now. That's right. And the worst part is because of people like Bean, and there was already... Mayor, somebody said a joke today that's on our list, so we have to go scratch that off. And,
that's funny. They've already used it, and you never know until actually you get into the thing.
Yeah, and Steve Beam MCs our show, so there's a great chance that while we're backstage ready to go, we're going to be scratching things.
Well, I know also there were some years ago we sat down, that is you and Rick and I, along with David Crucero, and talked about comedy writing, and I would recommend that people go back and look for that episode because that was really some comedy gold. I mean, as far as writing and scripting and everything that you guys had shared back then. And Dave's still part of the team who's writing this for you tomorrow?
Unfortunately, we can't get Dave. Dave's my dark horse.
Okay.
He's a little darker than I am. Him and Rick both are dark, and I have to bring them back to the light sometimes, though. But they really enjoy doing it. But Dave does a great job. He can see things, but he's not afraid to say anything. Yeah. I have a heart.
Well, and now you got more of a public to appreciate you now, because you're doing a lot more. Are you doing more shows now than you ever have before?
Oh, ever in my life. And with Nate, I did 127 shows with him a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And
we do like 15-minute opener? Or?
Yeah, 15 to 20, and but sometimes less. It depends. But we want the arena shows to be longer, so I got to do longer and stuff. So, but it's in the round, which makes things not fun sometimes for magicians, but I'm brought back the straitjacket this year, so I'm getting to do my straitjacket's the funny, and it lasts a long time.
Like you did at the Winter Carnival.
Yeah. So I was practicing getting all that ready for that and stuff. But I think I'm only doing probably 20 shows this year with him. But I'm getting still, because of that, I'm doing a lot on my own. Also on November the 2nd, Nate is going to film a special with me from Nateland Production, and it'll just be the magic of Stephen.
And that's already sold out, because I know they were selling tickets in advance. And
the tickets I got, I had one day to tell my family and friends, and I didn't tell my families and friends, and then Nate, and we didn't really know it was going to happen, but the very next day they put it on his podcast, and it sold out in less than 24 hours, sold out all the shows. So my family's going, well, you saved some side. No, I didn't. Nobody told me to save tickets. You can't tell the theater. So it's completely sold out, and I got a lot of people that are not talking to me.
because they were friends before. It's like, well, I thought he was my friend.
Sure.
What's the deal?
He'll get me and that's the thing. They think like we own the theater. Well, just tell them I'm your friend. I'm your cousin. Let me set it. No, what can you do? I got to kick people out.
And it's going to be in Nashville.
It'll be in Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee, a little bit south of Nashville. It's an old, beautiful theater, old time, like almost a vaudeville kind of movie theater turned into. But it was a theater turned into a movie back into a theater.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever you go and say, "Well, I'm a relative," well, everybody's related out there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if you can spell it, if you pronounce my name, you should be able to get in.
And then you are also, as I mentioned, going to be the guest of honor for the SAM convention, which is July the 4th weekend.
Yeah, July 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, I think, that whole weekend. And it's really going to be really good. If you're thinking about coming to that, it'll really be special. Come early to make sure you see House of Cards.
Yeah.
We're going to. I have a show with me. Kevin King, and they wanted some local guys, Jason Michaels, thanks for telling me that, and a guy named Mark Brown from the House of Cards. They wanted to get some performers from there and see some of these younger guys with older guys. But also visit if you've never, I know you've been, the House of Cards. It's worth coming in early just to see that, or stay late,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a lot of fun, and great venue to see some good magic, and they always have good people who are coming through there, so you get to see some top quality action.
Yeah, in a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it sounds like your year is full. Has Nate got something exciting coming up? I mean, when I talked to you before, it's kind of like, he's got this in the works and this in the works, and TV and everything. And
he starts a movie in 2 weeks from today, and then the Breadwinner is it's already written. The script was written, but they're rewriting it and updating it, which is good and fun. He's also hosting the Emmys now. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, be nice.
Very nice. Yeah, I remember he had just come back from the Oscars. I think whenever I was coming out for the Winter Carnival, because we were going to go see him perform there at Zany's, I think.
Yeah.
And then you said no. He'd been flying all night long, and
he'd been up 24 hours in a row.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go and crash. But I have not yet seen Nate perform live yet, or sometime. It's on my list.
It's sold out, Scott.
Well, as soon as after he's peaked and he's on his way down, maybe then I could.
I'll get you in there.
Then you can get me in.
You have a better chance to go to the McDonald's near his house. If you want to meet Nate, that's where you're going to find him.
Stephen, thank you very much. Always
Thanks,
good
Scott.
talking with
Always
you.
great.
Good luck tomorrow night then, too. It's always good seeing you and enjoying the convention.
Thanks, Scott.
So with the Magic Word Podcast, so Stephen Bargatze, Scotty.
All right.
Well, we just talked with Stephen Bargatze, and before that with Meir Yedid, both of whom have been guests of honor, and with another guest of honor from a few years back, who was from overseas, over in France, and you have heard him on my podcast many times, as well as his wife, Tiffany, the Parisian princess. But here he is in right now, Boris Wild. Hey, Boris.
Hi, Scott. Bonjour.
Good to see you. What year was that you were the guest of honor? You remember, approximately?
Yeah, well, we talked about this yesterday, and I realized somebody said, "Oh yeah, I came here for the first time when you were guest of honor." I was like, "Yeah, 2008." I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's like now 17 years ago," and I'm like, "Wow, it's been a while."
Yes,
but yeah.
Yes. Well, as I recall, also, of course, Obi's been gone for a long time, but you were one of the people he referred to as one of his children.
Oh yes, yeah, we were like I'm one of his adoptive sons. Like we had a couple here, like Henry Sean Farquhar, Henry Evans. So I mean, very good company, I would say.
Yeah, I would.
But yeah, I was very touched when I was guest of honor in 2008 because I was young. Mm-hmm. I'm not too old now, but I was really young, and I think I'm still the youngest, guest of honor so far. When I was
at the time that you were the guest.
Time, yeah. And I was so shocked, but then I realized that over the years, all the people after me that were guests of honor, Eric DeCamps this year, and I'm like, wow, I look at that list, and it's amazing, and I'm so glad to be here this year for Eric because it
really is a who's who of magic. It seems
exactly,
like,
totally deserves it, and finally it's happening, and I'm so happy for him and Celeste.
Yeah, it's great that Celeste is here, joining him as well and sitting in the front row right there and just reveling in the same honor that he's getting.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, I love the way she supports him. and then the way they interact together. And I was lucky enough to be to several conventions with them and see how they are together, and I'm so glad that she can make it also.
You were talking about this being about 17 years ago, and now when you add that into the rest of your years of Magic, I think it was interesting. You and I were talking yesterday. Next year you're going to be celebrating your 40th?
Well, yes. Well, this year I'm celebrating 40 years of Magic, and next year is going to be like 40 years like performing, like really, being on stage. Like 40 years this year, like first time I touched a deck of cards and I just started to play with it and realized, oh my God, that's something I want to do. I mean, that's Magic found me. I didn't find Magic. Magic found me. And then in 1986, I really started to, do like my first gigs, if I could say that, because I was like 14. And then, and that's going to be a lot of things happening here. There will be, we're going to do a special show in France about it. So it's secret so far. So you get a scoop because nobody knows about this. But there will be like a magazine where I do the cover story in France too. And I will debut like probably a lecture tour, which is going to be like a best of one. So it's hopefully not going to be the last one. But I mean, there is a moment of your life. I mean, it's nice also to show to the younger generation some stuff that they didn't see because they were not into Magic at the time. Some of them were not even born when I did my first lectures. So I'm going to prepare this with new stuff, of course. And it's, when you get to your time of your careers, like musicians or singers, you do like your best of album with some unpublished and new tracks and everything. So everybody can, okay, well, I didn't realize it did all that stuff, and the new stuff is cool too. So I would try to put something together about it.
And not only that, all the different places that you work around the world and different things. One thing that always comes to mind that you told me about performing one time was, I want to say it was there in Paris at a chapel or something where it was like a $1 million party, and you were dressed up like like Louis the 15th or something, or.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, that was a little crazy. It was at the Opéra Garnier, so it was the opera in Paris. So whenever if you've been to Paris and you see the opera in Paris, there's two. There's Opéra Bastille, which is a more modern one, but like the older one, the opera, it's insane. The building is crazy and it's old and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And so and there was a wedding at that time, and they were Indian people, and they were billionaires, like they made a fortune with steel and stuff or whatever. So they flew everybody in to Paris. They booked the opera, which is already, I don't imagine the price of that. There were flowers everywhere. You could smell the flowers everywhere in the opera, so because there were so many. So the budget for flowers was crazy. And we're all kinds of performers, musicians. But they really wanted to do something that's back in time. So we were all dressed up like... Exactly, like pretty much like Louis the 15th or 14th, whatever. We had like these wigs and makeup and like this little thing on the, there's a black thing on your cheek.
Beauty spot.
Exactly. And all the big, oh my gosh, clothes and everything. And pocket management was really interesting on that night as a performer because, musicians and other people were like, oh, okay, it's fine. But magicians, you need pockets. You need to put stuff on you because obviously we're not going to carry like a briefcase dressed like that or a table. So, but that was one of those gigs where you're like, oh, right, that's something you keep for the rest of your life in your mind.
You really do. And did you know going into it how big and important this was going to be?
Oh, no, because that's the fun part of it. You just arrive and they tell you in advance. They say, okay, you're going to need to blend into the thing, and they want something that's very like, the way it must be at that time, and you're going to get dressed up and makeup. And okay, sure, I've done that. I mean, I've done it in Disneyland Paris too. One day I was Indiana Jones. The other day I had like this big fur coat in summertime. I was swimming and everything. And because it's Disney, and we know you need to blend into character to do something special for the guests. But yeah, so that's the kind of fun.
It's one of those things you kind of get into and say, man, I severely undercharged for this show.
Usually, yes. That's you realize that by the time you get in front of the people, realize it's been already 3 hours between makeup and clothing, and then figuring out where to put stuff, and or like see the people who says, can you just maybe add with 2 safety pins something inside here where I can put an extra deck of cards, please?
Yeah. Wow. Well, this convention has really been great. We've already had almost 2 days. We had Wednesday night lecture, and then yesterday, and then today. Anything that has kind of stood out for you so far, or just it may not have been on stage, may have been something kind of in the lobby or in the hospitality suite?
The beauty about 4F is everything you see is by amazing people. So it's hard to say, oh yeah, this was better than this, or that's what they highlight, or that's why it's always difficult for me when you need to vote for the MVP, because I go to the hospitality suite at night and I see, like last night I took a picture, I was like, oh, that's Henry Evans and Javi Benitez, brainstorming apparently on something. There were like cards on the table, while in front there was Joe Rindfleisch, the king of rubber bands, showing something, and Alexandre Duvivier was doing this thing here and is showing her, and she was showing him also something.
Howard Hamburg was over at another
and
table.
Howard Hamburg was just close to them, and he was just showing another move and talking about stories about Di Vernon and Jimmy Grappo and everything, and you're like, wow, this is insane. Where do you see that? I mean, nowhere else. So that's why I think 4F is so special, and it's so dear to my heart, because those amazing people that I admire are around me, and they talk to me and say, hey buddy, how are you? How have you been? And I was like, how's family? How's your daughter? I was like, oh yeah, we know each other. They know I have a daughter. Sure. We performed together. So do you remember that gig we did? I was like, oh yeah, that's true. And so you're part of the family now, and then you realize that, especially me, it's my 26th time here in person, if I don't look at the 4F virtual ones. And so it's 1997, I didn't miss one. So of course, everybody here, I know them really well after so many years, and they know me well too. And that's the beauty of 4F. I mean, the highlight is just this relationship that we have all together, and those moments of shows that are cool. Last night, I talked to Michael Dardon last night. I said, I looked at the list of attendees. I don't know if you realize that, but there are over 15 people with full Penn and Teller in the same room. And he's like, you kidding? I said,
and some multiple times.
Yeah. And I said, we need to take a picture, because what convention do you go and you have 15 foolers? You might have 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 now. 16, that picture we took last night, 16, and you're like, wow, all 4Fers, great people, and they're around you all, for 4 days, and you can interact with them.
And those are the people who actually had fooled them. I mean, if you expand that to those who have actually been on the show, it's going to be a whole lot more.
Absolutely. It's just I would say just the foolers. Yeah. And that's why I think 4F is so special. That's why I like it here. And that's, for me, the highlight is just this. It's just the people every day. And, of course, during the shows, and we saw some great stuff, obviously. But it's also all the sessions, the late night, and just, getting a chance to know them better. Because still, after those years, there are so many great magicians that you don't get the time. You don't have the opportunity to spend as much time as you want with them.
Right.
4F is the opportunity, and that's why we love the convention.
You wrapped that up very good. That's exactly right. Boris, thanks very much. I appreciate your time and your friendship.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it, too. Thank you for being who you are, too.
Thank you. For the Magic Word Podcast, I was Boris Wild, Scotty L. One of the people who was on the bill earlier, was that yesterday or today you were on the gala? Was that yesterday?
The first
day, yeah.
Wednesday.
So that was on Wednesday night, yes. So because it seems like this all kind of melds together with just a few hours of sleep in between when we can get it. And with me now from Chicago is John Bannon. Hey there, John.
Hello. How you doing?
Fantastic. You enjoying the convention?
Oh, yeah, always.
How many of these have you been coming to?
Well, they told me 27. It has to be more than that, though.
Seems like it, huh?
Because I've been coming since the mid-'80s, so what is that, 40 years?
Were you part of the Forks group?
Yeah, I was in the Forks.
Okay. I was thinking you go back that far.
Yeah. Well, last year Mike Powers showed a video of the old Forks.
Oh, yeah.
And here I was, standing on the front porch.
Yeah.
So that was great. It was great.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Then we kind of moved around different places. This is a good hotel for us, and they seem to enjoy having us here.
Yeah.
The restaurant could work, and the bar could be more efficient, but
Or more open.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, there are other places across the street or around here for us to have dining opportunities.
It's a good location.
Yeah, that's right. So, from what you were doing then the other night, is that something that's from one of your videos or something that you're working on or something new?
Well, the packet trick is actually really old, and I'm sort of, revisiting it because I like it. It's kind of a good trick, especially good for magicians. And then the other one is a new trick from a new thing that I'm working on. So
okay, that hasn't been released yet.
Hasn't been released
okay.
yet. Yeah, it's a spelling trick.
What's the most recent thing that you had released? Is it from Big Blind?
It would be Big Blind. We re-released the color-changing deck, Strangers Gallery, and we re-released a trick called Sizzle, which is sort of my way of doing the dazzle, the Alex Elmsley dazzle effect, where all the backs keep changing color.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that would be the latest, I think. So
you guys continuing to meet on Saturday mornings?
Well, yes, even though, with Dave Solomon's untimely passing,
right.
I'm the last man standing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so there's David Finkelstein, who's here. He still participates, and then there's one other guy, because Rocker Bomber was doing it for a while, and he's no longer with us. So we'll see how long it can continue,
Didn't you have a Zoom component also for a while that you...
We'd still do it on Zoom.
Okay.
Ever since the pandemic, we've been doing it on Zoom.
Okay, because they used to come over to your house, right? Or
Simon's
house.
Simon's, yeah. So, and he passed right before the pandemic, I think. Maybe, I don't know.
And then his wife...
Ginny.
Ginny passed
just recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame. So...
Did
anyway,
they ever pass on their two-person mind-reading act to anybody?
You have to ask Matt Baker. He knows all about it.
I should have asked. I did a chat with Matt.
Okay, he would know. I mean, I know they were working on it, but Simon kind of kept that close to his vest, and I don't know whether it's ever going to come out or not. So, I guess it depends on who gets all of the notes of that part of his estate. And I don't know where all that's going to go.
Right. So. No, that was just, if anybody ever got a chance to see it, it was one of the best two-person, impromptu, seems like.
Well, they would do it any chance they got. So whenever they came to a convention, they would just, stop.
In the hallway.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I remember seeing him. It seems like the best. They kind of just helped make the convention, like that. So, again, you've been coming for 26 years or so.
That's what they said, yeah.
So what has been something that's been a highlight for you over the years that kind of sticks out, having seen somebody or...
That's a sort of a longer thing, but you come here to see the people, not the acts, right? And so that's always the highlight for me, is seeing people that I see once a year, and this is it. But there are a couple things that were memorable over the years, especially at the Old Forks. There was I don't know, were you there when Williamson did his thing with Tono Nasaka?
I think he was a guest of honor one year, or was that the...
There was one year where Williamson was doing his Rocky Raccoon thing.
Yeah.
And he shot it all the way to the back.
Okay.
And so he went out there and got it, and he shot it all the way to the front and went behind the table. So he leans down to get the raccoon, and he lifts up a ponytail, and it ends up being Tono Nasaka.
Oh, I do not remember that.
And so it was the Blackstone thing. When he shot it in the back, Tone moved under the table, and nobody saw him do it.
Clever.
That was one of my favorite moments of the last 40 years. It was hilarious.
Well, David is a prankster. He's got a very ingenious and creative mind.
Yes, he does. He does indeed.
Yeah. And so far, what have you enjoyed here as far as lectures or people or just new tricks you've seen? Or?
Nah, well, not really. You get older, you get sort of the less...
I like what Michael Blumke had just done. That was really funny.
It was really funny, and I guess there was a trick in there somewhere.
I don't know if there was or not, but it was hilarious. The concept was essentially he had 12 decks.
12-deck stack, yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't boxes, they were cards. It was a tower of cards. And then he was kind of parodying. He had Sean Farquhar, but he was parodying Sean on a couple of his things. And some of the moves they were making, putting it in the middle of the deck, but just doing a tilt with the top card.
Clearly just for magicians.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was very, very funny. And he was, that's the first one so far. It's got a standing ovation.
Is it really?
I think so.
Okay, well, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I hadn't seen, the others have gotten great applause, but it's like people, they didn't immediately come rising to their feet, but, slowly there's some people who are jumping up, and eventually everyone was...
I think all the shows, at the end when they bring everybody back,
sure,
got a pretty good ovation.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So far.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, there have been solid shows, that's for sure.
And they've been short.
Mm-hmm.
Which
That's
is
the
good.
advantage, as opposed to the old days when they just kind of went on and on and
on.
Well, I remember I was talking to someone about Harry Lorraine's lecture one time. It went from like 10 at night until 2 in the morning. They probably could still be there lecturing.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
He's got a lot of material.
There's
not you got a lot of material.
Yeah, but I'm not going to lecture for 4 hours.
No.
There's nothing I want to do for 4 hours. So.
Even magic, as much as you have a passion for that.
As much as I like it, 4 hours is way too long.
It is. Well, John, thanks very much. Appreciate your time.
All right, Scott. Good to see you.
Good seeing you too for the Magic Word Podcast. It was John Bannon, Scotty out. We've had a wonderful time here today, and the day is still going on. It's only like about 5 or 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I guess, right now. And we're going to be having another gala show. We just had a lecture earlier by, I can't remember, the Jarlberg. And what Jeff's going to tell me just a minute.
Yeah. His name is Robert Jagerhorn.
Yes, Robert Jagerhorn.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
Yeah, it was a good lecture. But I got with me then right now somebody who's been coming for a long number of years, and I remember seeing him actually eating a light bulb here one year. I don't think he's done that since then. Please welcome my friend Geoff Williams. Hey, Geoff.
Hi there.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I certainly did. Yeah, I do not recommend it. Mm-hmm. But it was...
Why did you do it?
Fun. I wanted to do something that wasn't cards, it wasn't coins, something that was in my repertoire, but I guess I wanted to sort of shock the room just a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since Todd Robbins couldn't be here, you're the next guy,
Right. Well, Todd actually was instrumental in helping me with this, so it was... He did not want to encourage me, but he knew I was hell-bent on doing it, and so he said, okay, I'll give you some pointers and things, which, it was wonderful.
But that's not something that you, again, do on any regular basis anymore.
No. In fact, my dentist has said, what's going on with your molars? Do you grind your teeth when you sleep? And I had to tell him what I was doing. And he just kind of rolled his eyes, and he's like, please, just don't do that anymore. So I don't recommend it, no.
Exactly. So you've been coming for how many years?
Since 2009.
Okay. And have there been some memories or something that come to mind? That was one of my memories about you doing that because it was so different, as you had said. But other people have done that stick out? Or maybe just somebody you met or talked with or whomever.
I remember meeting Christian Painter, Christian and Catalina, up in one of the precursor suite up there, and I had done a trick, and he said, I know that trick, and he grabs my badge and looks at it, and he goes, I've got your DVD. He didn't know who I was, and we became fast friends, and he's an amazing, they both are, and they're amazing performers, but that was kind of fun getting recognized when I didn't feel I was ready to be recognized, So it's kind of fun.
I think it's always a fun thing here where you do see that exact thing happen. I've had that happen as well, where I see someone performing it. I remember doing it one time, and I said, actually, I was showing this guy this routine, the card trick, and he said, well, the way I invented it was like this, and then he did it. And I thought, and I hadn't met the guy. It was just, this was back at the Forks. And I looked, and it was Dave Letterman. That's with a D. David Letterman.
Letterman, yeah.
And I'd forgotten the name of the trick, and I don't do it anymore, but it was more part of my repertoire. But the point is, I knew as soon as I read the name, it's like, oh, yeah, he's the guy who invented the trick. And that's the thing about this. These are people who actually are the creators of these tricks that we do as part of our regular repertoire. And you don't know until you actually, like you said, Christian didn't know who you were. He looks at your name tag and said, oh, I know your name.
I just think this is amazing because it's probably the only art form where you can actually go out to eat with your heroes, with the people that you've seen on television, with the people that you really look up to. It's absolutely. If you were a singer, you'd never be able to go out to dinner with Celine Dion. If you were an actor, you'd not get within 15 feet of Tom Cruise. But we're able to actually go up to these people who are world champions, our heroes, the legends like Gene Anderson and all, and just be able to shake their hands, sit down, talk to them, have dinner. It's
and they treat you like a peer.
They do, and it's kind of crazy. I'm so lucky I fell into this particular art form.
Yeah. And so far, what have you seen that you've really enjoyed at this convention?
Oh my gosh, I've seen some absolutely wonderful, wonderful stuff. The one that probably sticks out to me would have to be Michael Blemke.
Me too.
And
part of the gala.
So creative, so much fun. If it's sort of a Leonard Green on drugs. But it's so, and I mean it in the nice way. He's not on drugs. But he was so much fun to watch, and you didn't care if he found anybody's cards.
Yeah.
It was the journey along the way, very Tom Mullica-like.
Yeah.
So I was very, very much inspired by him.
Now, people who know him and know that name, he's, of course, going to be going to FISM, and he's the guy who had the mechanical arms kind of a thing, that he was going to be taking to FISM. But this act today was just completely different.
Yeah, the FISM act is really fun. If you haven't seen it, it will ultimately be out and about after FISM. But it's cups and balls where he says, I'm not going to be touching the cups. And you're thinking, how in the world can that be? And he goes, no, I'm not going to touch them with my hands at all. And he uses these long-distance grabbers, to be able to do it. And the hilarious stuff that ensues is so much fun. Yeah. So I highly recommend keeping your feelers out for this guy because he's going to be big.
Yeah, and he apparently switched over from the business world or whatever he was doing before to do magic on a full-time basis because he decided I can't do both and give my creative time the way that I want to. So that's why he's doing this now full-time.
Yeah, he's got a wonderful sense of humor, and he was
the first standing ovation we've had.
He was. I think he should have closed the show. I mean, you always want to close with a standing ovation, but who knew? He was a very, very big surprise that I really enjoyed.
Anything in the dealer's room as far as books or tricks or something that you saw in there that was available?
Well, the Marcobi book is out, so he's become one of my sort of faves lately. Kind of this generation's Leonard Green. So, really, he's on the radar. So that book is out.
What's the name of it? Do you remember?
I think it's just called Marcobi. No, it's not. I don't remember. It's maybe one single word. It's his only book that's out. So
his first name is Mark, last name is Kobe, or is
no,
it always how you spell that?
One word, Markobi.
Okay.
And he's, I believe, from France.
Okay.
And just a genius. Look him up on YouTube. You can see his last FISM act that he won at. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, this is a great convention. We've still got more to go. We got a show then later this evening. You stay up quite late last night and sessioning a little bit?
Well, I'm trying to take it a little bit easy.
As we get older.
Yeah, well, I've got pneumonia.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's one of a lighter version type of pneumonia, where I can...
And you're on your own because usually Neil Sturton is your roommate, isn't he? But because he had some eye surgery, he couldn't come over.
That's right. Yeah. Poor Neil.
So, Neil, you're listening to this. We'll miss you, buddy.
Yeah, you get completely well very, very soon. Yeah, he's a great guy. But now, I do have the room to myself now, which is great. So if I have a little coughing fit, it's like, I'm not going to wake anybody up. This is really, God's hilarious. That's all I'm going to say. He does weird things in the proper way.
At the right time. That's true. Well, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Always good seeing you, Geoff.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, for the Magic Word Podcast. That was Geoff Williams, Scotty out. The Figure Flicking Frolic here has been going on for, I think this is the 52nd year, and there are few people who are still standing who have been coming to them all, and I'm sitting right now with, I think, the last man standing, Dick Cook. Is that right?
I'm tied for first or tied for last, depending on how you look at it. Yeah.
Well, welcome, Dick. Good to see you here again.
Thank you.
Who's the other one?
Tim. I forget his last name. Dan McDonald's stepson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And are there memories that you have from the earlier ones that come to mind?
Sure. It started as a close-up entertainment where you worked for people. You had people in the bar, and that's gone by the wayside. One, by the sheer numbers. You can't have 250 people as opposed to 23 or 25 people.
Right.
There is no bar. So it changed more to a magic convention as opposed to a place where you could see other magicians work at a bar.
Yeah, and at the original one, they were just kind of sitting around the table, I guess, with Eddie and a few guys? Or?
Yeah, you worked upstairs, and there were, say, 35 people.
At the Forks Hotel.
Yeah, and you had to perform. Everybody performed, and you didn't know when you were going to be on. When you got your registration with your badge, the backside of your badge would say, Thursday, 4 o'clock, you're sixth.
Right.
And that was it. So everybody performed.
So everybody came prepared because you never knew if you were going to be tapped out. So you got your badge.
Later on, it got more people
more structured.
Than they had tricks. So you weren't always performing, but you were always prepared.
Well, in the earlier days, of course, it was just really across the U.S. and then coming down from Canada.
Right. The quality is certainly world class here. Some of the things I saw tonight are just absolutely mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. Some were mediocre. But boy, when you see a good one like that, it makes the old heart beat a lot faster. It makes everything worth it. You know, there's a lot of bad magic, and I'm the first to complain about bad magic, but boy, the good magic is really good.
Yeah.
And we saw some fantastic magic tonight.
Well, tonight was the gala for the British.
Yeah.
And it was with Darryl Rose, and there must have been, 15 of them, I guess?
Yeah.
But man, it moved quickly.
Yeah. There's a couple, I've been around a long time, and boy, they got me just as if I were a 5-year-old.
Now, over the years that you were a dentist, is that right? Or
Optometrist.
Optometrist, okay.
Right.
And as such, you always made time just to take vacation to come here and do this, or?
Yeah. In the beginning, it wasn't a priority, but after the first few and I relationship with Eddie, I wanted to go see Eddie, and it's not so much about the tricks, it's about the friends. And the shame is now, I don't want to be the first on the list. I like to be the last on the list. But that's the way it goes, and the memories are more important than tricks, and the friends you meet are more important than the tricks. So it's a place you come to renew old acquaintances and drink a beer to the ones that aren't here anymore.
That's true. And are you still continuing to meet new friends?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the passion, the physically not so good, but the passion is still there. Yeah, I still have the same passion. After the stuff you see tonight, if you really love magic, you could not have that passion.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait to get home and practice. I don't perform much anymore, but I still practice every day.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Now, you live in Ohio, is that right?
Yes, Cleveland area.
And so do you drive over?
Yeah, 3 hours.
Okay. Was that all it is? Okay.
Yeah. When I started, 3 hours, I would have been one of the ones that come from the farthest place. Now they come from Korea and Japan and all that. And I now realize how fortunate I am to be 3 hours away from the greatest close-up convention ever,
Right. Yeah. And has there been just one thing that has stood out, or as far as like an act that you have seen? I mean, all the greats have worked here. It seems like, Al Goshman, Frank Garcia.
Without a doubt, Del Rey.
Yeah, okay.
And that I think Del Rey had the whole package. He had I consider Magic Theater, and so did Del Rey. And he could entertain. He could entertain everybody no matter what happened. He was totally in charge, just like a great actor or a great comedian.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and he led the way with electronics, but you'd never guess that was what was going on.
One of the things so you have a rabbit with a magnet on one end, and you have a rabbit with a magnet on the other end, little plastic rabbits with magnets in them, and these things came alive. Now you could buy that for $1 and they throw it in the rubbish can, but in Del Rey's hand,
it had a little teddy bear. It seemed like it was drinking something.
Oh, yeah.
And then a little mouse. We're just waiting on you, Willie.
All he could do is turn the light on. One thing, but he's terrific. He's terrific. You're still in the running.
That's right.
Yeah.
$100. Compliments of me.
Yeah. No, he could entertain. And
he'd worked with Blackstone for a while on the tour. So, I mean, it wasn't just close-up. I mean, he was good at everything.
I'm a real hard ass about magic and complain a lot, and I complain that you got to hold the room. Your job is to entertain.
Yeah.
It's not about the tricks. It's not about you. It's, can you get that emotion? Can you hold the room?
Right.
Eddie could, Del Rey could hold any room, and the guys tonight, there were a couple that could hold the room.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A pleasure.
Well, back in the days, again, the Forks, you had people, like Carl Norman and Ray Mertz, and some of these guys who were working in the room in there.
Yeah. I consider Carl Norman the equal to Eddie, and I considered Ray Mertz the heir apparent to Eddie.
Yeah.
And Carl did what he did in the bar, and Eddie did what he did at the tables. And I don't think Carl got near the recognition that he should have for that. And Ray Mertz was just fantastic, but a lot of magicians have some other demons in them.
Unfortunately, in Ray's case, that was the case. But, Carl, I remember going around on a lecture tour years ago, and he had a one-man parade. He had a rope routine that was unparalleled, and he was the one who had taught me about how to, when you put your name on a name badge, coloring it in or whatever. I don't know exactly how to explain that.
Yeah.
Reverse it, so white on black, basically.
Yeah. The thing I liked about Carl is he could work the bar at the Forks, which is a horseshoe-type bar, and he could whisper in one person's ear so that everybody in the whole bar could hear it.
It's funny.
And you didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he could carry that out, just like an actor.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic at that.
Yeah.
Timing. A great magician has the timing of a great actor or a great comedian. Mm-hmm. And some of the people don't know that. And we had a lecture this afternoon, and I don't know and he said that he considered Slidini, being a student of Slidini. No, he's a successor to Slidini. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fantastic. He understood Jorgensen.
Yes, right.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That's what it's timing. He spent hours and hours and hours for something that takes 2 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, what dedication. Yeah.
That is commitment.
Yeah.
And you were talking about over the years about how this has changed and that Obi was able to bring in this international talent, which just revolutionized the whole thing.
Right. So, it's a trade-off. You lose the layman, and you don't get to see performances for laymen. And it used to be the magicians at the Forks, like me and Eddie, would go and work, and you could see people like Juan Tamara's work for laymen.
Yeah.
And there are no laymen, it's just magicians. But on the other hand, you get to see 50 or 100 of the greatest magicians in the world.
That's true. And the way that everybody shares their pet effects, this is different than a lot of other conventions where they feel like that they're kind of saving and holding things back. They're not holding anything back.
Yeah, not at the 4F. I mean, if you got something to show, now's the place to do it. And I don't know, for me, the magic that I see here is inspirational. I can't wait to see how hard I work for the ideas that I've come up with. I do my own thing.
Right.
But I'm inspired by the things they do. They might do a card trick that inspires me to do something on a dice trick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's the passion that burns the flame.
Yeah. Well, and at your age, your young age.
I'll be 83.
83.
Yeah.
That you are still inspired by this and still working. That's amazing.
Certainly. Yeah, like I say, I don't perform anymore. I'm willing to, but I practice every day, I study every day, and enjoy it every day.
Well, that's the secret to life right there, and long life.
Yeah.
And you've had a good life there, Dick, and many more years to go.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for sharing your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So, for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Dick Cook. Scotty out.
Okie doke.